All right, folks, we're live. I'm your host, DashV. With us today, we've got Jeremy, also known as Fighter Pilot, also known as the Red Bearded Gamer.
Hello.
We also have Tyler Pugmire, also known as T. Pugmire, also known as the Talent.
The eye candy of the show.
The eye candy of the show, as it were.
It's true.
And, remember that during the show, you can hit us up on Twitter by doing hashtag RRPFTW. I have it right there in my log line there. So hit us up on the Twitter with questions, comments, or anecdotes about the things that we talk about, and we'll make sure to share those on the show.
My friend just asked me why can't I comment while you're live. Mike, tweet us. Yes.
He just where did he comment?
He texted me right now.
He texted you, folks. Okay, what's your number, Jeremy? This seems to be working better than the Twitter.
Well, I need my number.
Folks, you can text Jeremy at, no, I'm just kidding, like, hashtag RRPFTW.
You actually do have a number, too. That's the sad part.
We watched this during the show. If you comment on that, then, and you include that in your Twitter post, then we will see that, and we will include your anecdotes on the show as long as they are compatible with our audience.
Well, he's not compatible with the audience.
The real Donald Trump says he's a very humble man. We can't even comprehend how humble he is. Okay, thank you, the real Donald Trump. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right. So, Fighter Pilot, we got some news items today, don't we? More Pokemon troubles.
Well, let's talk about before we start. The show is actually dedicated to Jason's friend. You remember, probably 2 weeks ago, Jason was on, and he suddenly rushed off. Well, he has some bad news, and his friend Brian Davis died. So tonight's show is dedicated to Brian Davis, and condolences to him, his family, his friends. Rest in peace, Brian Davis.
Rest in peace, my friend. We'll try to make this be a good show on your behalf. A tall order, but I think we might be able to do it.
But on to news, yes. Pokemon Go launches in Japan tomorrow.
Now this is interesting. So this is kind of, I don't know, it feels kind of cool to have a game from Nintendo launch in America first.
Yeah, I assumed it was out in Japan already. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's always an assumption, right? It's always like, oh, okay, this must have been in Japan for like the last year. How did we not hear about it?
They say they want to make sure the servers are ready before they launch to Japan. So that means Pokemon Go is going to be gone all tomorrow. You're not going to be able to get on. I guarantee it.
Awesome.
We know they're going to crash those servers again.
Awesome. Speaking of crash, though, right?
Yeah, speaking of crash, you want to try this one, Chris?
You shared with me a video. We can include a link to it down in the doodly-doo. But Jeremy shared with me a link to some dude, like, crashed, like, sideswiped a police car because he's playing Pokemon Go in his SUV.
It's like 1 in the morning, too, when he did it. You see, he's looking down, playing Pokemon Go, and the cop car is parked because you see the body cam of the cop. Shit hits the cop car, sideswipes it, and keeps going.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a bad
so I guess it's bad enough that happens, but then, like, in the video, because the cop's wearing, like, a body cam, so you see the car get hit, and then you see the SUV go for, like, almost another block and then stop. And so the cop, walks down this block, right, recording the whole time. He's like, hey, is everybody in there all right? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Because nobody was in the cop car. The cop car was just parked there, empty. And so he goes over, and the guy's like, the guy comes out, and he has his phone in his hand, and he goes, that's what I get for playing this stupid game, man. Like, he's just there like, I was playing Pokemon Go. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like,
I was right about that one.
Huh. I guess he didn't watch our last show about being safe.
Yeah, be safe, use some common sense, people. That's what we were just discussing last week.
Yeah. So, but you know what? Props for honesty, right? Minus 110 for good thinking, but props for honesty.
Wow, he just totally owned up to it. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, he totally, completely, on camera and everything too, so I don't know if he knew that the cop had like a body cam going on, but it's like, yeah, pretty much there's no way you're gonna drive anytime in the near future.
That's funny.
So
some more news. Once again, Pokemon Go is helping out Nintendo. Nintendo breaks a record with Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go continues to benefit Nintendo's business despite the fact that Nintendo didn't even make the game. According to a report from Bloomberg, Nintendo broke a Tokyo stock record on Friday when the company traded $4.5 billion worth of shares. Think about that for a second.
wow.
4.5 billion shares.
Mm-hmm.
And they technically didn't make the game.
And it was the most traded company in this century.
This century. Yep.
And I want to say, Pokemon Go percent of mobile. There was a article that was saying Pokemon Go accounts for 47% of the entire mobile gaming market as of last Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Pokemon takes up nearly half of mobile game products.
Almost half of mobile gaming. Now, I said this, I think, on last Tuesday's show, but, you know, I still have yet to play the game because I'm not going to give it my Google account. But at the same time, I can't log into the other, the separate mechanism that they have for logging in. I can't register my account because the servers have been, they're still overloaded. So I have not played the game yet. Even when I do play the game, I don't plan to like play it obsessively. But I still think that this is a great thing for Nintendo. I'm not going to hate on Pokemon Go at all because I think Nintendo really needed something like this to happen for folks to remind folks of how much they love Nintendo. Because let's be honest, the Wii U isn't doing it. So I'm grateful that there is something out there that's kind of reminding people, hey, remember when you were a kid and you would have fun? Nintendo is that company, you know, that was helping you have fun, and they're still around, and you can still have fun with their characters, with their IP, that kind of thing. So hopefully Nintendo recognizes what's going on here and is able to spin out, you know, some more things. I don't know if they'll spin out something that's as popular as Pokemon Go on mobile, but you know, if you look at track record for success, you know, the Wii before the Wii U being like a runaway success, Pokemon Go being a runaway success, the company does have a track record of two things: repeatedly failing to deliver, and then having like this smash, you know, breakout success.
Well, I think with Pokemon Go and with the NES Mini thing that's going to be coming out, I want to talk about that. I think that was announced after our last show. But yeah, I think people are super excited about that too. You know.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and segue.
One more Pokemon news.
What's that?
We got one more Pokemon thing. It's our guys' first sponsor, McDonald's. They're going to team with McDonald's and make multiple McDonald's official gyms. That's what they're planning to do with McDonald's. That's their official sponsor already.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it.
So if you like Pokemon Go and McDonald's, there you go.
I guess so.
McDonald's now.
So I want to get back to the NES Classic though, because when I look at the lineup of games, all the Super Mario Brothers games, one of the Double Dragon games, both Legend of Zelda and The Adventure of Link, you know, games. It's Kirby's Adventure. I mean, they hit hard with those 30 games. Now we do know that it's not going to be upgradable. They say that the games that are on there are the games that are on there. There's no way to do it. It doesn't take any kind of physical media to update the games. It doesn't allow you to, you know, to connect to the internet in any fashion to download games. So what is on there is it. But I'm hoping that if what is on there is solid, even if they use emulation, which they're keeping mum, but I'm guessing it's emulation.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of choice, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and I think when they talk about things like save slots for all the games, they're talking snapshots, guys. They're gonna let you save your progress in the emulator at specific points and reload. Now, what'll be really cool, and they haven't mentioned yet, is whether or not they do different custom filters and everything. Because I would think any one of those games on an HD TV hooked in through the HDMI, it's HDMI only. but hooked in through the HDMI, if it had a CRT filter like New Super Mario Bros., dude, I'd be in heaven.
It's like $60, isn't it? I think.
It's going to be $60, and what I'm hoping for is I'm hoping that, you know, even if it's an emulator, if this is Nintendo built the emulator, Virtual Console has been the only way I've seen near lag-free retro gaming on my HDMI television.
Yeah, I mean, for $60, it's actually a pretty good deal, really.
Yeah.
If you add up what it would cost to buy all 30 of those games on the Virtual Console,
What's the system?
At what, $6 or $7 a pop? You know, I can't remember what they are now.
Yeah, it was going to be somebody.
$60 is a steal.
Yeah, $140 if you were to buy all those individually.
Yeah, and you're getting all that.
Not to mention the controller that it comes with. You can hook into the Wii U and use it as a classic controller, so you can actually play games on the Wii U with it. You can even hook in a Wii Classic Controller gamepad in as the second player gamepad. So the controllers are interchangeable back and forth, which is really, really cool. It does have a USB in the back, but from what I've read, that USB is only for power.
Yeah.
So, which also, anybody that's watching in the UK, the UK version will not come with a power adapter for some reason because, I don't know, Nintendo now thinks it's fashionable to release stuff that doesn't have a way to be plugged in. I don't understand that one bit.
Yeah, build your own power cord, I guess.
Yeah. So Tyler could do it. Tyler could build his own power cord.
Maybe.
You recently built something of your own. It wasn't a power cord, but
no, I didn't.
What did you build? Share us with us what you built. So
a few weeks back, I don't remember exactly what episode it was. I was talking about the plans that were put online that I had found for a adapter that would let you use a Super Nintendo controller on a Philips Magnavox CDI. And as nobody really knows, actually, the controllers for the CDI are really expensive. I mean, we're talking at least $100.
Yeah, for one.
To buy a controller. So, I mean, a lot of people who find a CDI at a thrift shop or whatever, they never have a controller. I mean, I have seen several posts on lots of different forums about, hey, I found a CDI, where can I get a controller?
Yeah.
And you can't, outside of eBay.
Yep.
So I found anyway, I found these plans. They were created, there's a guy in France, his name's Lawrence. He actually created this adapter plan. It's using an Arduino, and it's actually really simple. I had never used Arduino before, so I mean, I had to learn how to do all that stuff too. But I got it figured out, and it's really simple. I mean, so I made my own using his plans. I'd like to take all the credit, but you know, I'm not that smart. So basically, it's a big black box. You can see that here. It's got two wires coming out, one on each end.
Now, where did you get the black box?
From a Radio Shack, actually. It's just a project enclosure box.
Really?
Yeah, so on one end is an 8-pin mini DIN, and on the other end is a female Super Nintendo connection. So you plug your controller right into that, and you plug this right into the system.
Nice. And
it allows you to just use that Super Nintendo controller to play any CDI games. And give me a minute here. I'm going to open this up. If you guys want to talk about something else while I'm doing this, go right ahead.
You want to do pickup real quick, Dash?
No, I want to ask Tyler, you know, what it'll charge for me to have him build me one.
You know, I've actually had a couple people ask me that. They're really not that expensive. I mean, if you just parts alone, I mean, the box itself, I think, was $6 at Radio Shack. The circuit board was, again, I think $6 on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of wires. You know, you're really not talking. You can make your own for probably $30.
Wow. You know? So now, how much have you gotten game time in with this?
Yeah, I have actually.
How is it? Is there lag?
No, it's good. I mean, there's no noticeable lag at all. And I was actually pretty impressed. I mean, and the CDI games, they suck, but they're way more playable with this adapter.
You know what? I bet you a great game to play with that adapter is Mutant Rampage Body Slam.
I don't have that one yet, actually.
That one is a really that's a really good game. It's like Streets of Rage, only imagine Streets of Rage where you could change the character that you're playing at any point in mid-game. You can just kind of hit a button, switch to another character, and what's cool is while you're switched to a different character, the character that you switched out can regenerate their health.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's really cool, and they do have different, different moves and different strengths and different abilities and that kind of stuff to a small degree. So there is a bit of variety in the combat and everything, depending on which character you pick, and incentive to be swapping characters semi-regularly. So I played it for. This is going to sound weird because for a CDI game, but I played it for I want to say at least 45 minutes, and I had to turn it off because I don't remember why. I had to go somewhere or do something, and I didn't want to turn it off. So to have a CDI game that's that deep, not necessarily deep in terms of like story or anything like that, but just like the game takes a while to beat. You'd probably have to play it for a good hour and a half to fully beat the game. But it's a worthwhile game to play through.
See, I played a lot of Hotel Mario with this game, with this controller, and it works great because I mean it's just like you would expect. So I've got this open here real quick, and I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, go ahead, give us a look at
I got a flashlight too here if we need it. So, we don't need the flash. Yeah, get rid of the flashlight. Okay, so just inside there's a circuit board. It's the Arduino.
Okay.
And you can see the two wires that are, going into the various ports. And anybody who's worked with an Arduino before kind of knows that they are powered. So there is most projects it takes a 9-volt power source, like a battery or something like that. This actually draws the power from the CDI itself. So there's no external power adapter needed.
Now, is it drawing 9 volts or is it drawing 5? Because I believe the controller's a 5-volt, right?
This one, I believe, it is 5. Right. There's different inputs, but yeah. So yes, it is 5.
Okay, great. The only reason that I asked for the clarification was because I wanted to warn you in case you didn't know, and I didn't know if maybe they'd factored it in somehow. If it had been 9 volts and it was trying to pull 9 over 5, you could potentially damage your equipment. But you said it's 5 volts.
There's a couple different on the board itself. There's a couple different spots where you can put your wires, and one of them is a 5-volt in. So that's what I plugged it into.
Great. So now that looks pretty simple. Now I remember you mentioning before, because you were going to try this I think a week or so ago, and I remember you saying that it was that part of it was kind of tough. So if I'm going in and I know a bit about soldering, right, and I know a bit about like software and things like that, like what was it that had you tripped up, and what was the breakthrough that allowed you to tackle it and take it from the plans to completion?
So the hardest part for me was the actual programming of the board itself, because I'd never done it before, and I'm not a software guy. I admit that freely. Like I don't do that. The soldering was easy for me because that's what I do. But learning how to program, because it's not super user friendly. I had the plans up and I had to go to another website that was more just like Arduino for Dummies kind of thing. Like this is what you have to do. And once I actually read the instructions, it made sense. So it's really not all that difficult. It's more just like if you've never done it before, there is sort of a little bit of a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
But it really was pretty easy.
Do you think we might be able to get a little a how-to or something from you at some point? Not necessarily right now on the show, obviously, but like maybe offline or something.
Yeah, I could throw something together. Maybe something
with step by step with pictures or something on VG Collect in a forum thread or something.
Yeah, I could probably do something like that.
Yeah, why is it help me do it because I'm an idiot.
Well, the actual instructions are online. I mean, that's where I found them. I'm actually looking at them right now.
Okay.
And one of the cool things about this also is that because the Super Nintendo controller has more buttons than a CDI controller, normally does, he was able to actually add some kind of cool stuff in there. And so the D-pad it acts as the D-pad, makes sense. The Y button acts as button 1, B is button 2, A and X both act as button 3, which is basically 1 and 2 pushed at the same time. You probably already knew that.
No, didn't know that.
Left and right is kind of cool because they were actually able to. So left.
You mean L and R?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, left, yeah, L and R. They were able to make it so like the L button decreases the speed of the cursor. So as you're moving across the screen, and right like increases it. So you can. It's like 5 steps, I think. Yeah. So there's like super slow, medium, fast, and super fast, kind of. And you can kind of like select how fast you want the cursor to go across the screen.
So it's just if you were playing something like Who Shot Johnny Rock or Cluedo or something like that, right?
Yeah. So that makes it kind of cool. Let's see here. The select button inverts the button mapping. So it inverts B and Y. So in case you, for some reason, don't find that comfortable for whatever game you're playing, you can move the buttons, I guess.
Okay.
And select just changes it back again. So you push it twice, it goes back to how it was. Start doesn't do anything, I don't think. So it was kind of cool, though, that he could actually program more functionality into the actual controller that was there.
Yeah, that is actually pretty neat.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with it.
And you said it took you...
These guys can figure out.
What's that?
It's amazing these guys figure this stuff out.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm not that smart, so I looked at it and was like, what? You know.
This one was kind of it took long enough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not to talk smack about the person who came forward with the information and the person that provided the information to him, because from what I understand, even the person that published the information was not the original person that came up with it.
Well, sort of. So about 10 years ago, there was a guy by the name of Paul Hackman, and he created the first adapters, but they were for use with Sega Genesis controllers and certain PC gamepads that you could use as well. So he made a bunch of those and then stopped because parts got hard to find for whatever reason. I don't know what parts he was using, but it became a challenge to find them. So he had to stop making them. So he actually, years ago, he released some of his documents out there. He's like, look, this is kind of what I did. Go, figure it out on your own, sort of.
Yeah.
So this Lauren guy, he kind of took those and was talking to this Paul guy and kind of made this new adapter based on some of the old work and actually some of the other Arduino software that's already out there. There's a program or a library, the Arduino term, it's called SNES Pad, which was created by somebody else. So it seems like he took things from different people and sort of just put them together until they worked.
Yeah, integrated them together into a...
Yeah, so it wasn't just him. I mean, he had help from all these other people.
And that's not to downplay the whole contribution and everything, but it's just more to kind of say, like, it's funny how some niche things will, like, just get, like, a cult following, and then there's, like, this outpouring of stuff, like, things like, for example, the Atari Jaguar and stuff like that. And then there'll be a very active homebrew scene, all kinds of mods. ColecoVision kind of falls into that as well. And then you have other things where, they for whatever reason just don't. You would think Philips as something that evolved from what potentially could have been a SNES CD, and having Nintendo licensed things on there like Zelda and Hotel Mario and things like that. You would think that there would be like an active, scene eagerly deconstructing this thing, making it so that there could be homebrew and all this other stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see how the community actually does or doesn't embrace and adopt something after it's lived its life.
Well, there is a community. It's just really, really small.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody really knows about it. I mean, I'm not all that active in it, but I know enough about the CDI. I'm one of a handful of people that even know it exists, I think. I talk to people outside of gaming, and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a system that Nintendo." And they're like, "Oh, I had no idea."
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to me. I can definitely say of the systems that I have, the CDI gets the least of my time. But that's not to say that there aren't good games for it. One of the things that I think is really kind of a tragedy of the early death of the CDI was that at the time, to me, it's clear looking at it through the lens of now, any of the games that use the MPEG decoder chip that it had, that you could get for it optionally, it was only included on certain builds. Clearly superior frame rate, color, and quality video to any other console that was out around the same time, including the 3DO. The CDI was clearly a superior video machine. So.
Yeah, it's a good little system. I mean, the games, it has a better reputation for games being terrible, which they are, but it's fun. It's different. It's, if you've never played one, give it a shot. I mean, one of the nice things about the CDI also is that there is no copy protection. So if you have a game already, you can just make a copy of it.
I really enjoyed Cluedo on the CDI.
If you have the desire, you can go online and find ROMs of games. I don't know how legal it is, but you could.
I like how he keeps looking to the left. Like, who's to the left, right? Who's to the left?
About it.
There's a lawyer or something to his left going, no, don't say it. And he's just like, if I say it really quietly, the lawyer won't hear me.
No, I just,
I could get in legal trouble.
You could do that, and you could have the entire library of games for free.
Yeah.
Because there's no copy protection.
Now, what's interesting too, though, right? Because I've noticed this. I have a lot of games like in actual physical copy. Like I've got a physical copy of Mutant Rampage Body Slam. I also have a copy of Burn Cycle, which is an excellent game for the CDI. I also have Pluto and a handful of others that I don't quite remember off the top of my head. But I still play those in burn form because I noticed with my Burn Cycle CD, these CDs were not necessarily mastered in a future-proof way. And so I was actually noticing the CD deteriorating for Burn Cycle when I would use it. And so rather than continue to use that original disc and damage it and destroy it, I have it, displayed and it's in an area kind of for show. So people go, Burn Cycle, what is that? What is the CDI? Like you said, it leads to some interesting discussion. But when I'm actually playing, I'm playing with like a verbatim blue that's sitting in the player, because if that dies, I'll just burn another one.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with CDI, 3DO, and Sega CD. Some of those, depending on how they've been stored, all the information's on the top layer, and when the paint peels off, you're also usually losing also the top layer of the data. So these things do happen due to age. But that brings us to the next topic. So unless there's any other wrap-up comments you want to make about your project?
No, not really. I mean, the only other thing I was going to mention about the CDI games is that there's also some interesting foreign games, because the CDI, it didn't do very well here in America, but it did very well over in Europe, in Belgium, I believe it was, where Philips is actually from. So there's actually some European games that are they're not good, but they're interesting. If you're looking for something a little off.
Now, is the CDI region locked?
No, there's no region locking either. So you can play games from any region, burn copies. You can do whatever the hell you want with it because it's totally open.
Nice, very nice, very nice. But speaking of physical decay, we're actually going to get to another topic dealing with digital. So the eagle-eyed might notice that this episode was called DashV Does Digital, and Jeremy, are you the least bit curious as to what that means?
I got an idea what it's about. I'm interested.
You got an idea?
I have a feeling you're going to go all digital and give me your entire physical collection.
You think? Oh, okay. Well, I can definitely say that's not going to happen. But I'm tempted. I don't know. I'm tempted. I want to talk a little bit about digital, and because I'm noticing a trend that disturbs me, and the trend that disturbs me is that this digital-only gaming. There were some companies. I remember back in PS3 era when games were starting to go digital. It was really controversial when a physical game would have a digital version for sale on the store. Now, a lot of what's happening is, most of the games that are available in physical are also available in digital. But more recently, and predominantly it's been that smaller games, either much smaller publishers or much smaller developers or indies, were releasing their games in digital only because it was cheaper and easier to produce, and you don't have to worry about inventories and that kind of thing. But now, even big giant publishers, Square Enix is actually releasing a digital-only spiritual successor to the Chrono Trigger series. So the game just released this past week. It's called I Am Setsuna, and you can check out the video. I actually saw it because when the Steam, excellent advertising by Steam, when it logged me in today, it showed an advertisement for it in a video, and I'm like, wow, that looks like a JRPG to me. And I saw an airship and a lush-looking overworld with folks kind of like scurrying around and talking to different characters. And it was I Am Setsuna, and so you can get the collector's edition on PC through Steam, or you can get the regular edition on the PlayStation 4. But whether you get it for PlayStation 4 or PC, it's pure digital. I looked and looked. There is not a physical release. There's no plans to make a physical release. And what I thought was really interesting, so I want to throw this out to you guys. I'm not just going to sit here and rehash my opinion of digital versus physical, but I did want to get your thoughts on. Square said that their main motivator behind I Am Setsuna is to kind of harken back and leverage the nostalgia that folks had for games like Chrono Trigger, and it wanted to make a new game that reminded us of what Chrono Trigger was and took all the stuff that we loved about Chrono Trigger, but did it with like new story, new world, new characters. It is not a sequel to Chrono Trigger. It does not have anything to do with the original Chrono Trigger series of stories, but it's done in that same style, done in that same vein. And what I thought was ironic was the only reason that they can do that is because people can still play Chrono Trigger. It might be expensive as heck, but you can still buy Chrono Trigger, find Chrono Trigger fired up on a console if you're playing on Super Nintendo. You can also get it on the DS because they remade it in physical form for the DS. There are physical copies of the game that this game was inspired by that you can go back and play now, right? And in some cases, you can still play the physical incarnation of the game that was made 20 years ago. This game, if it really only ever has a digital release, is probably not going to be able to enjoy that same statement 20 years from now. 20 years from now, I don't even know if the PlayStation 4 will still function, much less have an app store that you can go download I Am Setsuna and play it on. What are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Tyler.
I don't know. I don't really do the digital thing, really. I mean, I have, if it's a really good deal, but I mean, I don't know. My whole thing about digital games, and I know I've said this before, is that a lot of times they're the same price as a physical release. And being a collector, I would like to have something to show for the $60. I can hold up and go, look, I have the game. But I mean, if it's going to be digital only, make it cheaper, because it should be cheaper to produce. It should be cheaper to sell. If there is no inventory at all, if there's no warehousing. There's no, nothing of that sort. The game should be cheaper.
Yeah. Or the experience should definitely be like, oh my goodness, better, right? Like, I can understand if they need to offset costs in some way, and they don't want to deal with like bloated inventories if the game doesn't sell or whatever. But I mean, this game, it looks good. Don't get me wrong. Like, the game looks good. The trailer looked like it was definitely impulse buy for me, especially when I heard like, oh wow, it's $40. But then I was like, oh, it's a digital only at $40. No longer interested.
Yeah, $40 for a digital game seems a bit high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we've been spoiled by, $1 and $2 games for our phones, but no, I agree with you. I think $40 for a pure digital only game is too high, especially when you look at like really great games that have come out. I hope what happens is it ends up going the way of Life is Strange, right? Life is Strange, also published by Square Enix, came out digital only for the Xbox One and for the PlayStation 4. Did really, really well, and because it did really well, they actually had a limited physical run that they did of the game, and I think that is definitely a good way, a good way to go.
Same way.
Yeah, Shovel Knight was the same way, released on all the platforms in physical except for Xbox One. But yeah, ironically, Xbox One is the platform I want it for the most. But yeah, so hopefully I Am Setsuna goes in that direction. So anybody that doesn't have a problem with digital, definitely check out I Am Setsuna. It looks like it is worth worth a look, especially if you're a fan of Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, those games. As soon as I saw it, I was actually really psyched because I've been really enjoying Bravely Default and Bravely Second, and the only thing that I've kind of lamented about those games is that I can't play it on the big screen. Because it just feels like such a big, amazing experience on the 3DS that I'd really like to play a game like that, done that well, but on a next-gen console. So I Am Setsuna looks like that might be the one that I want to take a look at. But I'm gonna wait. Personally, I'm gonna wait and see if it gets a physical release. So, do you think, Jeremy? Back to my original question, though. Do you think that a digital game with a short shelf life can amass the following and the nostalgia factor of a physical game?
Well, no, because think about 10 years when PS5, Xbox Z are out. Like, remember the time Xuna or insert game here? I'll have to play it again. Oh, the servers are dead, so I can't go download it. Or, oh, I don't have my PS4 anymore. I don't feel like buying a new one.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Or a physical copy, I go, I want to play Super Mario. Oh, it's right there on my shelf. I can play it right now.
Yeah.
I think there is a case to be made, though, for what you're saying, Chris. Is like, if a game is going to be that, if it ends up being that popular, if it ends up becoming a huge hit, then physical or not, it's going to come out in some form later on. I mean, look at how many times they've redone Pac-Man, Space Invaders, the classic games. You can play Pac-Man on every console imaginable. I have it on the CDI, as a matter of fact. Like, you can play it on everything.
On the CDI.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be the next Pac-Man, but I mean, there is kind of a precedent. If it does well, it will be released on something else later on.
Potentially, and by potentially,
Well,
I throw out some of the lesser known but pretty good Atari games. Right? I can't play Yar's Revenge on any platform I want necessarily. I can't play games like Journey Escape on any platform that I want. Both of those were Atari 2600 games. I can't play what's the other one? Pitfall 2. Right, on any platform I want. And these were very popular games. I mean, you are right, there are games like Pac-Man and Doom and things like that, but like these games, generally the games that happens for are like mega blockbuster, like, you could print money with them type games. And so I guess I'm just,
Yeah.
No hate toward those kind of games because they're blockbuster, doorbuster games for a reason, right? But I just kind of, I guess, I find it a shame that unless a game is going to be a print money kind of game, it's going to be, I think it's guaranteed to be flash in the pan if it's digital only. And one of the examples I'll cite for that is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World on Xbox. Yeah, Xbox 360 and on PS3. That was one of the top games for about 3 months in a row, 4 months in a row. And it was an excellent game by all accounts. And you're not going to be able to you're probably not going to be able to buy that, especially if it's if it's a game that's like licensed property and that kind of thing. Like Pac-Man, the licenses are fairly clean around that. Something like Scott Pilgrim, you got Universal, you got Brian Scott O'Malley, you got all these folks that have a say in a portion of the rights and the slice of revenue that they want to get from it that kind of stands in the way of a clean redistribution of that later on.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but then there's also games that kind of had a similar story where there was complex licensing issues that nobody thought we'd ever see in them again. Like the Simpsons arcade game. How long did it take for that damn thing to get figured out? And they finally made it happen. So I mean, it could happen. Yeah. Is it likely? No.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The thing with the Simpsons, I guess I get back to though, is that it did happen, but it happened in digital. So.
Well, yeah. But there's still a way to play it.
No, correct.
So it's gone forever unless you own an arcade cabinet. And that's arcade cabinet. That's
right. Are you back, Fireball? I'm getting an echo now.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry about that.
Blah blah blah. I still. Where'd he go?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear. You broke the show.
That's not my fault. I had to do something.
You broke the show. Brian Davis would be very disappointed in you.
I know. Sorry, Brian.
We tried, buddy. We tried to give you the most spectacular show of all time, but Jeremy broke the show.
So shall we discuss our pickups for the week?
Sad times. Yeah, let's go through pickups. I think you're gonna have to mute when you're not talking, Jeremy. All right, there you go. So yeah, we could definitely get into pickups. I'm gonna let Jeremy actually show his pickup first. So Jeremy has a pickup. Yeah.
So after months of not having a game, I finally got 7 Days to Die for PS4. $30, not bad, because it's kind of like Minecraft almost, but you gotta build zombie hordes, and I got 3 friends playing. Shout out to Austin, Christian, and Mike for helping me out, because if you're alone, because it's 4 players, up to 4 players, if you're alone, it kind of sucks when you first start. So you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Tell us a bit more about this game.
So pretty much, you play it by yourself or 4 players. Pretty much when the game starts, you're blinded by the sun and you have nothing, literally nothing. So you gotta pick up, you gotta cut grass, hit some trees, get some stones, and start crafting stuff, just like Minecraft. And you gotta be careful because there's zombies around and stuff, and you gotta build a house, build weapons, just like Minecraft. You start from nothing, and you just gotta build your way up, and hopefully the zombies don't keep the shit out of you.
So wait a minute. The game has zombies.
Yes.
But you have to mow the ground and build a house.
Well, you gotta cut like salt blade grass and craft shit out of that. And first 3 important things in the start is the grass, the trees, and the rocks.
I don't even want to mow my lawn in real life.
I know, and you're punching grass, so that's always entertaining. So, of course, my first experience is it's day 56, and it's like the Blood Moon night, where the zombies are really crazy. And I had to run 3 miles to their location because I didn't start anywhere near them. They're like, just hurry. I'm like, how much further? Just hurry. It's Blood Moon night. I'm like, I hate you guys right now. I literally have nothing, and I'm running through zombie land. So that was my first experience. It's Blood Moon night, which is one of the worst nights on the game. I admit I was a little scared.
Did you pee yourself?
No comment on that one.
So I had a pickup. I had several, but I'm only going to show a small handful of them. In the area, there's a place in San Jose. I'll give the whole info right there. In San Jose, there's a place called Game World, where they have just about every system that you can think of there, and they've got games for just about every system. And pretty good shop, right? Pretty good selection. And I've been to that shop before. I'm familiar with their inventory and that kind of stuff. I'll stop in every maybe month or so just to see if something new's come in. But you guys know I was out for a week, and I was visiting, or not visiting. Yeah, I was visiting the woods. Right. Sometimes the woods miss me, and I need to go visit them. Right. I need to hug the tree and tell it it'll be okay. My son was camping for Boy Scouts in the woods near Big Sur, and I went with him. And on the way back, I noticed on the GPS that there is a Game World 2 in Gilroy, and so I thought the logos look the same. Obviously, the address is different. It does say Game World 2. Like, I wonder if it really truly is part of the same franchise, or if it's something totally different and somebody's just like stealing the name, right? But to come down to Gilroy to sort this out. Well, no, they're both part of the same, I guess, family of stores. And what was really cool is that they had this inventory that I hadn't seen before. The Game World in San Jose definitely has a much larger inventory, at least from what I saw. But the inventory in Gilroy was still pretty respectable. So I got myself a copy of Spot Goes to Hollywood for the Sega Saturn. Totally complete. Has the foam insert. The disc is in mint condition, and the manual's in pretty good condition. So I got now, I think, 4 or 5 games in my Saturn collection, which is pretty cool. I also got 2 of these, but I'm only going to show one. The 6-button Sega arcade stick, which I'm really psyched about because this will actually let me play Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2 in a more legit fashion on the Sega Genesis. So I did get a handful of other games and everything like that, but I'm not gonna pull out the whole avalanche of games. I will say that pricing wise, Game World 2, I came home after I made my purchases, and I spent over $100 at the store, and when I went and looked up prices for everything that I'd gotten at this store, with what we with what they go for on eBay, I saved $40 off of what the eBay prices would have been for all the same stuff. So, pretty cool. So if you're in the Gilroy area, check it out. So I don't know if it was Jeremy or Tyler that mentioned, hey, did we do this last week? We did, but it was in the after show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember who talked about during the show.
I'm like, I've seen this. Where did I see this before?
No, we mentioned in the after show of last week. We didn't record it, but I did mention, hey guys, hey, just check out what I got. So, because I knew that a lot of it was Sega stuff, so I knew that Lizzie would really, really like seeing a bunch of the Sega stuff.
That makes sense now. I was so confused. So I'm like, what the hell?
Why are we doing this again? So I'm sure there's people inside of Nintendo wondering the same thing about the NES Classic. Right, like, wait a minute, why are we introducing another? So now what's really cool though is how tiny that is, right? It fits right. They were showing it fits like in the palm of one's hand.
It's about the same size as the same width as a controller, about.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That is really cool. I'm definitely picking one up. I already have most of the games that are on it, but I'm definitely going to pick it up. So what would you guys do? So I guess, like, SNES Classic. Are you going to grab one, Jeremy? No, Jeremy?
No, money for it, unfortunately.
Okay. What do you think, Tyler? Are you going to grab one?
I'm still undecided on that. My gut reaction is no, just because, like you, I have most of the games that I want. The other kind of issue I have with it is that I said this before, I still don't have a TV that has HDMI input. I'm kind of living in the Stone Age here. So, I mean, for me, it's kind of like, do I get one just to have, without buying a brand new TV? So, I don't know.
I want one because the box would look super sweet, would it not? I like how the packaging looks like the original packaging. It's actually cheaper to buy this just to have it on display than it is to buy an empty box for the NES original.
Well, see, I've got one of those, so I'm good.
You're golden. I do not have that. So.
But on the other hand, though, I'm kind of tempted to pick it up just to have, because eventually I probably will get another TV. And plus, I think if this does well, I think there's potential to get a second one, or maybe even a Super Nintendo Mini.
I think we could definitely get a second NES Classic, because think about this, right? Like NES Classic, and then they make the new NES, the top loader NES Classic, right? That has maybe 30 more games on it from the back catalog. Because with a catalog of over 500 games in the U.S. alone, like there's certainly plenty more in the war chest that Nintendo could throw down, especially if they tag team with. They already were able to get Mega Man 2 on there. If they talked to Capcom and they were able to get like the whole Mega Man series plus DuckTales and DuckTales 2, like print money
right there.
Yeah, print money with that console, right? Or if they could finish out the Castlevania series with like Castlevania 3 and that kind of thing. Also, love to see it if they, like you mentioned, if they came out with a SNES Classic or an N64 Classic, Jeremy. Would you get an N64 Classic?
Yes, I'll get an N64 one, definitely.
So, there we go. And a nice thing, too, is that, this is a good time for Nintendo to be announcing stuff like this while the Pokemon Go is so hot. So I think there's going to be plenty of people looking forward to this toward Christmas season, which Nintendo desperately needs, since there's not really anything major coming out or expected for the Wii U this year during the holiday season. They need something to plug that gap, or their stock prices are not going to stay put.
Yeah, we have a good 9-month gap till the NX. I guess.
Yeah, that's assuming that the NX launches on time, which I'm doubtful of.
Yeah.
I'm still doubtful that they're going to launch when they say they're going to launch, when that puts them launching before E3 of next year. That makes no sense, especially when there was no talk of anything NX at this year's E3.
Yeah.
So.
Now, one question is Turf going to get the system?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I definitely think Turf is gonna get it. I think he's gonna get 2. No, I'm serious. I think he's gonna get 1 to play and 1 to never open ever.
That sounds like him.
So what do you folks think on the Twitters? Let's see. WonderBra92 says, "Heck yeah, NES Classic all the way." Let's see. The real Donald Trump says, "I'm going to make my own NES Classic. In fact, no, scratch that. I'm going to have Sega make the NES Classic, and it's going to be the best one ever." Like, I think we're going to block the real Donald Trump from commenting on the show. Like, he's going to get Sega to make the NES Classic? That doesn't even make any sense, Donald.
Neither does anything else he says.
I know. I'm telling you. Oh wait, Hillary Clinton, 1262 says, "Please delete that email I just sent you. That wasn't meant for you." Okay, all right. I don't know what that's about. She's accidentally sending me emails I shouldn't be getting. So, oh Donald, I'm not even gonna repeat that. That's not even polite. All right, they're getting into it on the Twitter feed, or maybe I'm just making this whole thing up. Folks, do remember that on this and any show that we have, you can comment in with your comments during the show by doing hashtag RRPFTW. We're going to be wrapping the show up for tonight, but we hope that you heard about some good games. I don't know if we already announced it, but we'll give it another announcement in case we haven't. MegaVisions, we had a special delivery, MegaVisions 0 Hour, on Saturday, and we talked about and promoted their Kickstarter. They're trying to make a magazine, interactive digital magazine that's a spiritual successor to SegaVisions, and it's going to have articles written by Tom Kalinske and Al Nilsson of Sega, the CEO and Director of Marketing, respectively, for Sega back in the 1990 to 1996 time frame there. Each episode, there's going to be 6 issues a year, and in each one of those issues, they're going to give an anecdote about an inside story from Sega that's never been told before. So they were looking to raise, I think it was $12,000, and they raised just short of $16,000. So they well exceeded their goal. So thank you to all the viewers who contributed to that project and helped it be successful. I'm looking forward to what they come out with.
Is this someone supposed to get a tattoo now? Chris, I think. Chris.
Oh, yes. Chris of the MegaVisions team, not me. MegaVisions Chris had said that if they go over their goal by even $1, he was going to get a tattoo. So look out for that. He said it on our show, so you can go back and look at Saturday's show, MegaVisions 0 Hour, and if he doesn't do it, we can all publicly shame him on his Twitter feed into doing it, because peer pressure to do absurd stuff like that, the internet is teaching us that's the right way for society to conduct itself. Tyler doesn't want to endorse it. I saw it. Tyler did the look to the left, right? What'd the lawyer say? Did the lawyer say that's bad?
I'm just thinking maybe we should try to convince you to get a tattoo.
I want to know who's to the left. Like, what's going on to the left?
There's nothing. I look this way because there's nothing here.
All right. So now you know, folks. If you ever play Tyler in poker and he's looking left, right? You know he's bluffing.
Yeah.
Totally bluffing. That's his tell. All right. No. I don't know. Like, I don't think I'll. Retro podcast hashtag RRPFTW. No shout out, Dash. I saw your comments, and I gave you the shout out. So let me see who.
What?
Trayvon Colt says hashtag RRPFTW. No shout out, Dash? Question mark. So he got his shout out. Oh wait, the real Donald Trump said. Oh, never mind. He's talking all crazy about some Tex-Mex restaurant he really enjoys. We'll just leave him over in his own little corner of the internet. We'll give him a microphone and let him talk, and he won't notice that he's alone.
That Colt guy said something below that though. Look, no
what else did he say?
Well, there's one below it. Can you see it?
No, it's not showing.
Oh, it shows mine. Oh, you gotta go to live. That's why.
Ah. He asked, "Why are you guys so awesome?"
Why are we so awesome? Is somebody seriously asking us this, or is this another one of your?
No, I'm serious. I could take a screenshot if you want to see.
No, I believe
I
you.
can see it. I can see it clear.
Here, no, I'm gonna share.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm not making this one. I'm gonna go into screen share. I'm gonna do. Here we go. Where is it? Hang on. Screen share. Here we go. Full screen. Present to everyone. Right here. Why are you guys so awesome?
Wow.
It's true.
That's
true.
a very good question.
That is a good question.
I don't really know.
I was going to end the show, but we'll spend a few extra moments to kind of ponder this truth.
Why are we so awesome?
So we are awesome. That is true. But I guess I've never really thought about why we're awesome. Why do you feel we're awesome, Tyler?
I don't even know. I mean, we got looks, we got personality. I don't know.
You got CDI, you know, controller adapter making skills. Chicks dig that, man.
Low staff skills. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Jeremy, why do you think? Why do you think we're awesome?
It's 100% because of Tyler.
Tyler is so humble. Tyler, tell us how humble you are.
I'm so humble. You don't even know. I don't even know.
Yeah, we can't even understand how humble Tyler is.
It's difficult to comprehend.
It's difficult. It's difficult for the human mind to comprehend how humble Tyler is.
True.
So, all right. Well, Trayvon, I don't know if you're still there. If you're still there, hashtag us RRP FTW in the Twitters. If you do a follow-up comment before the show ends, then maybe something magical will happen.
Uh-oh.
All right. Let's see. Statute of limitations runs out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 2 1/4. All right. I think we can close out the show now. Trayvon must think that we didn't give him a shout out. That was probably our one Canadian viewer, and we just pissed him off.
We finally know his name.
We finally know his name,
Wow.
Trayvon, the one Canadian viewer, and now we lost him because we didn't give him the shout out earlier in the show.
He thinks we're awesome, though, I guess.
He did think we were awesome
He
until
did.
we didn't give him a shout out. Now he thinks that we're terrible.
Mm.
All right, question mark. Now, here's my question. Trayvon, are you actually Jeremy?
Dun, dun, dun.
Look at Jeremy's face right now. I gave him the floor.
What are you me for?
Is it you, Jeremy?
No, it's not me. Do I look like a Trayvon Colt?
Okay, touche. All right, Trayvon, what's your favorite console? I feel like I'm on a Ouija board.
I know, this is taking some time. Oh.
Let's keep an eye on Jeremy. Keep his hands
What do I do?
typing
I
away.
don't even use Twitter except our own. What do we use?
Let's see what Trayvon has to say. All eyes are on you.
Does he actually say?
He put a question mark.
Oh.
Awkward silence.
I know. Silence. It's like suspenseful. We got like 18 viewers right now, all wondering what Trayvon is going to say next.
Do you really? I don't think we have 18 viewers. Let's see.
Am I just making it up?
Let's have a viewers again. Finally, Dash. I'm going to be very happy.
Let's see.
How viewers do we got?
He might be lagging.
We have no viewers.
Oh, you're breaking the movie magic there. I'm supposed to say like we got like 50 viewers, right? Like I have people thinking the real Donald Trump is commenting in their Twitter feed. Nobody checks this stuff. Now they're gonna check because you called me out. And then people like Trayvon are no longer gonna think that we're awesome. They're gonna be like, wow, it's all a sham. I thought Hillary Clinton and the real Donald Trump were commenting on the Retro Reload Twitter feed, and now I find out it's all a lie. Next thing you know, you're going to tell me the one Canadian viewer is just made up, too.
No, because he's been on our show before.
That's true. We did, didn't we?
That is true.
We bring our viewers on the show for some reason.
All right. Well, Fremont's taking a little bit, so we'll sync up with him post show, and see what we can work out for him, giving us our first legit live tweet during the show. So, folks, this has been Retro Reload. I have been, will continue to be, and always aspire to be DashV. We'll see you again next Tuesday with hopefully less echo from Jeremy's workstation.
One last thing: if anybody is interested in the adapter, in making one, or I am open to making them for people if they want. Drop us a message in the doobly-doo, and we'll chat.
Someone else said doobly-doo. It's a thing now.
In 2 weeks, we're gonna have a special guest, a real special guest.
Yes, 2 weeks we'll have a real surprise special guest. It's gonna be awesome, and we will be awesome by proxy. Folks, take care. We will see you next Tuesday.